just for etiquette,
Yeah.
is there any questions do you want me to refrain from asking?
Not at all. Feel free.
I got you.
I love when people ask me that. It's like not much
Well, you
out
know,
there. Yeah, people love asking about Spider-Man.
really.
Yeah, because I the whole Shamik Moore situation and like people being like, "Oh, Reed
I think
play."
that's so foul.
I mean,
It's-
I felt bad. I was just playing along, and then people got mean about it, and it was just like a bad sitch.
Yeah.
But now everywhere I go, people are like, "Oh, bro, are you gonna be Miles?"
Yeah.
Like, bro, maybe. I don't know. It's none of my, it's not my world.
Is there a conversation in the works?
No. None more than the conversations I have with people who are like, bro, you'd be great. Somebody today told me I should play Static Shock, which would be cool. I'd love to voice Static. Or Aqualad. Aqualad is what I really want to play.
So you've been watching Young Justice?
Yeah, I love Young Justice.
That's like our favorite TV show.
Yeah,
like,
Young Justice is fire. Bro, I want to play Aqualad bad. He's cool. He's cool.
Would you dye your hair blonde too?
Hell yeah. I've had blonde hair before.
I seen you had the brown
blonde beard
in one of your music videos.
I used to have a lot of hair and it was fully blonde.
Okay.
It's crazy. But I had to cut it off to go film.
Yeah.
My hair's never been the same, never been that long.
Wow. Are we recording? Oh, did not know.
Tight. We're already here.
All right. What's going on, everybody? This is your favorite music journalist, Cleveland Rowe, also known as Bobby Cleve with CitrusRap, and we have a very special guest. I will allow him to introduce himself.
What's up, y'all? Reed Shannon in the building. What's happening?
How are you feeling?
I'm good. Happy to be here.
How many DreamCons have you been to?
It's very first one.
Really?
Yep. Very first DreamCon right here.
How does it feel to be here, to be at this convention where you just see nothing but us, people that look like us? How does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, that's dope. It's nice. We're not many generations from a time when we couldn't even have our own spaces like this. And so to see it on such a large scale and just in its beauty and freedom is it's wonderful. It's the dream of many people.
Yeah. One thing about DreamCon 2 is like it just feels like a family reunion every time. This is like my fourth DreamCon.
Oh, okay.
This is my third time doing press.
Nice.
So it's crazy to see it evolve from like being in Dallas and being such a small venue. Then you start to see it now is like I think it's over 30,000 now.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
That's what's up.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
RDC did it. They did a big one on this one.
Now you're also on your Boy Savior tour.
Yes, sir.
Which I want to know more about that because I honestly don't understand what it is exactly.
So working with Netflix has been such a great opportunity. And in November they had us go around to a couple of Comic-Cons outside of the country, like in Brazil and other places, and we just decided to create a name to what we were doing going around to Comic-Cons this year and really show love to the people who've shown love to us with Arcane and the Ekko fan art everywhere, and so we go to Comic-Cons and we have a booth where people can get prints from artists who are online and get me to sign it there. People sign Funko Pops, and then in addition to that, I perform my music on the stage if they have a music showcase, or if they just give me a 30-minute slot to perform at the convention. So we call it the Boy Savior World Tour, because eventually there will be more world tours, but this is just the first one right off of Arcane 2.
We're gonna speak that into existence.
Yes, sir.
Do you ever get like going to all these conventions? What was the last convention you went to?
MomoCon.
Okay, I was just
in Atlanta. Yeah.
Do you ever get exhausted? Is that with these tours just kind of doing some things that's kind of like repetitive, I guess?
It's not repetitive because we just meet so many beautiful, unique people all over, but it can be tasking. We work very independently, and so a lot of the business and logistics and things are kind of in-house, which can add to the pressure of making sure that I'm able to still be here and interview with you and meet everybody that wants to come in and say hello. But it's all a service, a service to people, who have allowed me to be able to perform and be able to shine this light that I've been given, you know?
Yeah. Now, get into your story.
Yeah.
But I want to begin with this, which is everyone has their phase in life where they discover Michael Jackson. And they go into a whole phase where it's nothing but Michael Jackson.
Nothing but MJ, yeah.
For me, it started with Beat It. Then
fire.
My favorite song of all time is going to be Remember the Time.
Wow.
Now, my question for you
is... It's a choice. You an old soul if that's if you like, you remember, that's like a two-stepper.
The music video and all. Like,
yeah, come on.
It's classic, man. You can't beat it.
Unmatched.
You see Michael Jackson as this superhero, and he's still, you can't really, I don't think anybody can top it other than Beyonce, maybe the closest thing to that.
Yeah.
But my question for you is, what was that first encounter, your first introduction to Michael Jackson that made you like love who he is?
My parents played Motown a lot when I was growing up. In Berry Gordy, obviously, who founded Motown, also found the Jackson 5 when they were very young, and so I grew up listening to songs like Who's Loving You and Maybe Tomorrow, just really falling in love with their music and the story of Motown, and all the groups, the Supremes, the Temptations, Smokey Robinson, like I Stevie Wonder, just listened to all of that stuff growing up. And it was just always Michael was always a part of my life, like from the earliest I can remember. And then eventually I played him on Broadway, and that was at 13, 14 is like my eyes opening for the first time, to really what I can do and what is possible in terms of entertainment.
Was there any pressure to getting that role and to stepping into a legendary shoes like that?
I think I just had like a childlike innocence with it. It was me just doing something that I loved to do. When we were auditioning, I did musical theater to that point for about 8 years, and and it was just, I did it as a hobby, just like my passion, and being able to express myself, and getting that job and having the opportunity to play that role was just that, like, wow, what an opportunity. I wasn't really thinking anything further than that until I was about to leave the show, and it came to like, okay, what do I do next? Do I want to go back home and do high school and sort of continue life like this never happened, and I didn't travel to 30 states and do 8 shows a week, or do I want to figure out a way to turn this into more of a career? And I had gracious parents who allowed me the opportunity to turn it into a career, and under the one condition that I continue to develop myself as a person, as a human, and as a man, and so that just it just, like I said, it opened my eyes at that time in my life, and it really showed me what was important to me for the first time, I think.
One thing I noticed about you in your interviews and even right now is that you're very expressive and very animated. Where does that come from?
Oh man, I don't know, actually. When I was a baby, I used to watch Whose Line Is It Anyway a lot. Like Wayne Brady, who's just like a true showman. But my goal here in life is to just bring joy to people, and God gifted me with the ability to sing and ability to bring smiles to people's faces, and so I wanted, I'm gonna go the distance every time to make sure that happens, even if I am exhausting myself, because I don't think that my gifts are for me. They're not for me, they're for the world.
Do you ever look back at all the things that you've accomplished, from landing roles on Arcane, performing on Motown, Broadway, all these things that you've been doing? Do you ever look back and be like, man, like, how did I get here? Or like, man, like, just
sometimes not as much how did I get here, because I remember the work, but just like, I'm amazed that the work that I've done, because I feel like the work has just begun. I've just been following love for so long. I woke up one day and was like, oh wow, I have to like fend for myself too. And so it's more of an introspection and a checkup on myself of saying, do I still love this? Is this where my heart is leading me? Is this where my talent is leading me? You know, is this valid? Is this worthy? Is this who I am? You know, but yeah, it's a good question.
Well, what's the end goal? Like I feel like artists want, at least with music artists, like let's say Leon Thomas, for example, he wants to get that Grammy. Yeah. I did hear him say he want to get EGOT one day. Yeah. What is that for you? Like, what do you want to like leave behind? Yeah. For the people on Earth. Yeah, I mean, I definitely am shooting for the EGOT. You know what I mean? Like I don't. You know, Arcane is an Emmy-winning show, and so to me, that's a very, very close to the E. It's very super close to the E. You know, but outside of awards and things, I want to create art that brings out those types of conversations, like EGOT conversations. You know, I'm not so much concerned with the award as I am with the art that would bring the award. Yeah. You know, I think that awards are great. I think that they're big achievements for people who are in this industry, and we know the work that we put in. And so, you know, I think a lot of people can see it as something that's very materialistic, but they don't just give these awards to people who, or to productions who didn't put, you know, big work in. And I think that the things that win awards, Emmys, Grammys, Oscars, Tonys, I think that those award-winning jobs and productions, they deserve them. You know, they put the work in, dove into a story, and it affected people and impacted people. And I think that that's the most important thing about the art that we do, the craft that we work on tirelessly, you know. And so I you know, at this point in my career, I just want to keep getting to the opportunities where I can just create great art. I don't really want to do anything gimmicky. I don't want to do anything that is just like a cash grab. You know what I mean? This is what I love to do. With all the different things that you do, because you're very multifaceted, very much so a Renaissance man. Yeah. Which medium do you feel like you feel the most free in? Because you do a lot. I didn't even realize you do comedy. Yeah. Like, that threw me off. You know, I haven't done stand-up in years, but I would say I probably feel the most free doing stand-up. Really? Yeah, because stand-up, more than it is joke structure, you know, joke structure is a part of it when you start to really, really get into like the Conan situation and like doing stand-up on a higher level. But a lot of early stand-up is crowd work and feeling comfortable on stage, and stage is where I feel the most comfortable. You know, I love talking to people from the stage, and so yeah, I'd say that I feel the most free there. You know, it takes a lot of work to free yourself as an actor, because you have an idea about how people are just naturally, but then when you see it on paper and you're tasked with the task to create this in yourself, you know, it's easy to judge a character and then internally block yourself from living authentically through a story, through this character. And then with music, you know, when I record, I'm always trying to find different ways to stretch my skills. And so I don't think I've put in the 10,000 hours recording. I mean, I've definitely put in the 10,000 hours, but I think that for music specifically, it takes 20,000, 40,000, you know, to really, really feel comfortable in your sound. And, you know, and I've been taking my time with that. And so I won't say that I'm very free in that. I'm very free in my skill of singing. Okay. You know, I'm very comfortable with that, but yeah, stand up for sure. I for sure thought you were gonna say music. Yeah. For some reason, I just felt like that was gonna be the one. Yeah. Well, you know, I love acting because of the work that it takes. I love music because of how it flows for me, and everything else is just like joyful for me. Yeah. In what ways does doing stand-up sharpen your skills in other areas than what Broadway may not do, or maybe what music may not do? Well, honestly, the musical theater training fuels all of it. Okay. You know, like the being on stage and trying to reach the person that's in the back of the room, you know, and putting on a show because the people, they can't see you. You know what I mean? They see your figure, but you have to be big and, you know, and really give them some energy so that they can feel it, even in the back of a stadium. And with stand up, it's like connecting with every single person in the room,
you know, and finding something. If they're not laughing, man, I'm not funny to you. Like, okay, that's fine. They think I'm funny, you know. And just playing. Yeah.
Was it hard to like grow that thick skin, or was that ever a problem for you?
Not really. I don't know.
Well, I'll say this, like, I interviewed Doechii sometime last year. And I asked her, like, because one thing I admire about her is that she's very confident and she's very sure of herself. And her answer to that was like, she's been through so many embarrassing moments. It's like, I have nothing to lose now at this point.
I don't know. I don't have the energy of like, I have nothing to lose. But I'm also, I more believe like, man, if you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, you know, and I think that mentality and how you speak over yourself it means the world, you know, and it really has an effect on the experience that you live, you know. And so I don't want to deny myself of anything that's for me based on a lack of confidence or doubt or any external factor that doesn't have anything to do with what I'm bringing to the table. You know, and it's easier said than done for sure, but it's just about, I think, pacing yourself and allowing yourself to make mistakes and not judge yourself or, you know, like hurt yourself over making a mistake. It's just a mistake. Like the day will continue, they will go on. And also for me, I don't know, this might be a little harsh, but like if today's my last day, then glory be to God. You know, absolutely. Like I've done what I came here to do. You know, and I think that living like that allows you to accept your authenticity as you grow. You know, and to continue to turn into the person that you're supposed to be. You know, you can't, like, just like in acting, like you judge a character based off of your perception of the world. You're not gonna find the truth in what they're saying, villain or hero.
Now, you attended the North Carolina Theater Conservatory in Raleigh. In what ways did attending there contributed to the things that you do now, such as Broadway? What lessons have you gotten from there that you still use today?
You know, I think it's just NCT was just like a really great place and opportunity for me as a young kid to express myself, really, you know. And I think that was like the most important thing that I needed. You know, kids that look like us don't get opportunities like that in this world, you know. And as unfortunate as that is, you know, it's still necessary. It's still necessary for us, and we're gonna express ourselves in some way, you know. And so that place really just gave me a home, and it gave me a place to find things to observe and obsess over that weren't really harmful to me. You know, I'm not as much of a theater kid as I was back then, but it's something that I never have been able to let go of, and I don't want to, because I think it's beautiful the way that the medium of stage, you know, musical theater and stuff, it's just a really great way to tell a story and get some energy across, you know.
You know, sometimes I wish I did theater.
It's not too late.
I watched a movie recently called Sing Sing.
Sing Sing.
It's so good.
Coleman Domingo.
Yes. And one of the things about the movie is how, for one thing, it's a refreshing take on like black men in prison, or just men in prison in general. But the ways that they talked about the toxic masculinity and
calling each other beloved,
being free from that, breaking free from that by using theater as a stage to really express yourself, because that's something I'm trying to work on, is just be able to freely express myself instead of like holding this kind of like cool image or whatever.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just theater is about freeing yourself. It's about letting the story live and breathe in its full expansiveness. You know, lights, makeup, broad movements, dance, you know, like just hard-hitting vocals. And to be able to do that, you know, 8 shows a week, you have to be a flowing vessel. You know, and so definitely, I mean, and it's just like we saw in Sing Sing, it's transformative for people, you know, to
such a beautiful film.
It's, I mean, we all have imaginations and have these worlds in our minds of what we want to see, you know.
Yeah.
And theater for people that are imprisoned is a great way to be like, you're not stuck in your cell.
Yeah.
You know, you're not, and that's the same for anybody in the world. You're not stuck in this cell of a mind, or this cell of a society, a community, you know. Like, we can do anything that we set our minds to, you know. And I think that theater is a great gateway to that, because it's like, you have to play. Yeah. You have to play like a kid if you wanna do this at all, you know. And we deserve that. Yeah, absolutely.
With you being like an actor, is there a different approach when it comes to being on stage or between being on stage and being on screen?
Yeah. Yes.
And voice acting.
I think on stage you have to do more upkeep of your body. You just have to be more in tune with your health, because it takes a lot to be on your feet for 2 full hours and tell the same story every night. On camera, it's very pampered sometimes, just because they're trying to catch a moment that was written 2 years ago, you know, and is being chopped and screwed, you know. And there's a setup, there's a set decoration, you know. We're trying to catch this right moment with this right sunlight, and so you need to be perfect, you know. There's a lot of pieces that work together. I guess a lot of people don't really know, like, the people on Broadway, they're doing everything, you know. They're not pulling the curtain, because there's a whole amazing group of people who do that, but you know, they're doing their makeup, they're rehearsing, you know. And especially if you're doing a show like something like Hamilton, I have friends that have been touring with Hamilton for about 5 years.
Wow.
You know, doing that same show time and time again. You know, after a certain amount of time you get bored, but these people are paying to see this story that they really want to see, and so you want to give them a show, you know. And then with voice acting, I think it's probably the lowest liability and preparation, but it takes the most hit out of you up front, you know. Like, you have to use your voice to convey something that you would otherwise be able to split up in your body, you know what I mean. If I'm kicking, you can't see me kicking, so I have to be like, you know, like, really send it. You got to use everything that you got. So it's interesting how the mediums change what's being used, but at the core of it, it's all in the middle. You know, it's all in the core. And so I think that's what's beautiful about art. It doesn't matter what form it comes in. It's transformative, and it comes from a true place of energy, if that's the intention of the artist.
And speaking on that, I saw an interview with Denzel Washington. He was very adamant on drawing a clear distinction between a stage actor and a Hollywood actor. Would you agree with him on that sentiment? Because pretty much I think he's hinting at the fact that it takes a lot more skill to be a stage actor than being a Hollywood actor. Oh yeah, I mean, just like I said, like, the people on set, not that they're not doing heavy weight, you know what I mean. Like, it's heavy. I mean, we've seen Denzel pull some crazy moments, you know what I mean. But it's very concentrated. As soon as the curtain goes up on stage, it's up. I've seen people go on stage, sprain an ankle on stage live, keep performing, go off, and they put on somebody else in that role because they have to. The story the show must go on. You know, it's very different. And, you know, I don't know if one is better or worse, because the fact that, you know, we're telling a story is the story is the star. But I think that I agree with Mr. Washington. Like, a Hollywood actor is more business than it is the craft a lot of the time. But the craft is everything in terms of stage. And as a craft actor, you know, you can't get any better training or opportunity than being on stage and discovering something for the first time again every night after night. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
it's a very beautiful thing to be able to step into a story like that time and time again. You know, but you know, it's I've been in drama films, and it's equally as emotionally tasking to ruminate on a moment.
Yeah.
You know, and really work through understanding what this moment is, what it will mean for people who see it, what it means to you, you know, what the writer was intending. I had a scene in a movie where I had to unalive somebody, and it was just a very dark moment in the script, and all day I was just kind of doubling over about it.
Okay.
You know, just because of that energy that I had to bring to it. You know, and after we did the scene, I went and had a little moment, had to break down for a second, because it was weighing on me so heavy, all the complexities of what that action meant.
Wow.
You know, what that little 30-second moment meant in terms of me telling this story, bringing this character to life. You know what I mean? And I think a good actor is somebody who can separate themselves to a degree to allow this character to shine and allow the other people around them to shine. And you know, and I think in that clip when they were talking to Denzel, he was taking the story and side piecing it to what the society sees as Denzel Washington, you know. But Denzel is a stage actor. He's a craft actor, you know. So the roles that he does aren't for the money, which is what, you know, a Hollywood actor would do it. He's doing it for the passion. He's doing it to tell the story, you know. And I think that's why that clip did so much, because you see in that moment, he's like, no, you don't understand the passion to act and to tell these stories. And you know, that's one thing that is separated from knowing my angles. Anybody can know their angles, but can you catch an authentic moment telling a story that resonates with millions of people around the world? Yeah, I don't know. You know, and not a lot of big Hollywood actors can. You know, you can, with enough money, you can put anything on.
You could do all the editing.
You could put anything on. Yeah. You know, The Weeknd just put on a movie and nobody liked it. You know, but he's a singer. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's very enticing to bring these visuals to life, and I can understand him as the global artist that he is. You know, the visuals that he's had to come up with, you want to take it up every time, and you want to do things that pull emotions and stuff. And so, you know, it's just, but you know, the idea of Hollywood is just another perception. Yeah. You know, most people in Hollywood come from theater backgrounds, or you know, do commercials, or you know, they want to tell great stories. They're not so much concerned with being famous. You know, you'll find a lot of those. Yeah. You will, and it's a very interesting distinction. Yeah.
With all the roles that you've had recently, or landed, yeah, which one has been the most challenging for you, that took you to just new heights for yourself?
You know, the characters that I've played so far have all been very, very they've been parts of me that were wanting to get out. And so I won't say that anything that I've done so far has been super challenging. I get a lot of auditions where I get a chance to challenge myself. Okay. You know, I've played homeless people, I've played captives, I've played, you know, drug addicted people before, and that stuff is not really my life. But to find truth in that, you know, and find, you know, like I said, it's hard to not to judge a villain. Yeah. You know, but everybody has a reason for their being, and that we all have to agree upon. You know, I can't judge your intention, but I can sympathize that you're having a human experience.
You know what? Has there been a role where you think just opened a new perspective of life for you?
Yeah, I think that Ekko was timed kind of perfectly in my life. Just in terms of, you know, me growing into the man that I am now, and who I'll continue to grow into being. Ekko is such a leader, and he's so unapologetic about the things that he believes in. I think that I started recording that when I was like 17 and 24 now, and just in becoming a man, it's important to have that influence, I think, you know, and understanding that aggression isn't leadership. You know, aggression isn't masculinity. You know, I really believe that care and sympathy and empathy for others is as masculine as it gets, as leader driven as it gets, you know, and being a giver, being somebody who can serve. I think that's the, you know, protect and serve. I think that's the most important thing that playing a character like Ekko left an impression on me.
I just started watching the show recently. I've been putting it off for so long. And it took me a while just to finish the first episode of Arcane. But I just finished season 1, jumping into season 2 now.
Nice.
And I'm learning more about Ekko, and he's just a very interesting character. There's a lot of resilience, a lot of bravery within him. Do you adopt some of his characteristics in your own life, or there's something that you learn from Ekko that you want to like carry on for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his bravery his courage is through the roof. I have courage. I'm brave, but I want to be more like Ekko. You know what I mean? He's so unapologetic and he's so sure of himself, and that's something that I just want to continue to push myself to be like.
For you as a voice actor, what does it mean for you to play as a black character? What does that mean for you for that representation?
I mean, it's nice to be able to play a character like this, and it's not wrapped up in any type of stereotype. You know, we get to have Ekko gets to have the swag and the courage without all of the mental things that we can develop living where we live and being who we are, you know. And I think that's super important. You know, I think everybody deserves representation, and I think, you know, we live in a world now where everybody has that representation somewhere, you know, or has the opportunity to build their community about it. And so I think it was just, you know, right on time situation. You know, I'm tired of seeing characters of color that aren't just different. Like, they aren't just characters that happen to be of color, you know. They're like characters of color. Can you give is there any misconceptions when it comes to working on animated shows? Because I know one thing I realize is that you guys are not in the same room, your other co-workers. Yeah, sometimes they film it in the same room, but I don't know. I think most people have a pretty good grasp on what we do. You know, I think the biggest misconception about voice acting is that it's separate from acting. You know, most voice actors are theater trained. They just know how to use their tools in different ways, you know, and have been hired to use their tools in different ways. You know, and for me, like, I guess I did so well as Ekko. A lot of people think that I'm a voice actor, you know, but I've done more on camera stuff. I've done more stage things in my career in life. You know, but it's just acting. It's just telling a story in a unique way.
What do you want to do next as far as for yourself? Like, what's next for you?
Yeah, man, I'm just gonna keep creating across, man, all the way up. I'm gonna write. I'm writing a few projects right now. I have like 2 movies that I'm writing, just penning and trying to develop. You know, I'm always finding a new set to work on. Always recording music. Just continuing to create and not really taking the biggest golden egg, you know. Like, I would rather have 18 dozen regular eggs than one big golden egg. You know?
One thing I learned about you too is that you're very much into God. You have a very much Christian foundation. Where does that come from?
I mean, you raise a child up. You know, my parents had me in church from the time I was a kid, and God has just really, really been evident in my life. You know, I don't have answers for some of the blessings that have come in my life, and I don't need them. I am completely happy and comfortable with the mysteries of God and the way that the Lord Jesus can affect a life, you know what I mean, and can move through us. And I just want to be the biggest advocate that I can be for who and what Jesus is and what Jesus did for us, you know, because it's an unmatched. Jesus is the real boy savior.
Yes.
You know, and to me, that is a testimony in itself, you know. Absolutely. Because of what God has done in my life. And I really believe that because of my faithfulness, he's given me the opportunity to play somebody where people call him the boy savior, because now I get the opportunity to be like, yeah, but you know who's the real boy savior? Lord of above, you know. You know, he's allowed me to do this, and you know, I will just continue to always give it back to him, because I'm not here for me.
Do you find it hard to like, well, how has it been for you to like navigate throughout this world, especially through Hollywood, as being a Christian?
Yeah, I mean, I think that prayer is so important. It's anywhere in this world you can find corners of evil, dark corners, and that doesn't mean that it's an absence of God. That just means that it takes a different relationship building skill, you know, and that's all that it really is. I think a lot of people get caught up with how corrupt the world can be, which it was written. Mm-hmm. It was written that it would be corrupt, and that doesn't, like I said, that doesn't mean an absence of God. And so it's just about building your own relationship and allowing God to use you and show you your gifts, so that you can go to different places and use those gifts so that other people can be like, man, that's dope. Like, I didn't even expect, nobody else has asked me about it, but yeah. I'm pretty upfront, yeah. You know, like I don't have anything to hide about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, even in LA, you'll find a lot of people who are believers. Okay. A lot of people are believers, you know, and because of the corruption in the world, a lot of people find themselves scared to you know, be upfront about it. But I think that's to each his own, you know. That's every man's journey. It's not for me to say how you should or shouldn't be, even if you aren't a believer. Like, there's still time. Yeah. You know, the Lord wants to accept all of us, and it's just about giving to Him. Yeah. You know.
And maybe He's working in this moment right here.
Of course. Well, somebody's gonna see this. Yeah. Somebody's gonna see this, and that's what it's about.
Now, this has been a truly inspiring conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I really thank you for being here with us. My last thing I would like to ask for you is to give some inspiring words for the people, for other Black creators.
Yeah. I mean, just be honest, raw. Don't let anybody tell you what it should be or what it can be. It's if it spawns out of you, if you see it, bring it to life. Like, don't be afraid to execute at whatever level you can. The world needs more, just more creativity, more love, you know, and trust God too, you know, trust in the architect of this universe, this world, you know, and give to God and God will give to you. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
This is your favorite music journalist, Rowe, also known as Pop Cleve, and this is Reed Shannon. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.